Last episode, we finished building our medieval city on our starter island, and as much as I love this thing, it feels a little empty. So today, in order to fill it with more life, we're going to be building our villager trading hall and villager breeder. Now, we don't actually have enough room on the starter island to build a villager trading hall, so I'm going to fly all the way up to this cliffside that's kind of jutting out of the regular landscape over here. And man, just look at the view of our starter island from all the way up here. I can't believe we've built all of this. It just looks so insane seeing it all put together. But yeah, I think this will probably be the best spot to build this thing. And so the first thing we need to do is make some room. So I'm going to start cutting down a bunch of these trees to make sure we have the proper amount of space we need to build. But alright, with all those trees cleared and out of the way, we're going to head back down to our bone meal farm and greenhouse, and I'm just going to craft up some white dye because we need to re-dye our sheep. There's still a bunch of blue and yellow sheep from the robes that we put on the villager statue last episode, and the yellow wool that we needed to make it look like there was gold all over our storage room floor. So we got to turn these guys back to their default color. And then of course we're going to just spend some time shearing them because one of the blocks we're going to need for this villager trading hall is white wool. Now the reason for this is because we're going to be using the exact same block palette that we used for the mega castle. I'd like for this villager trading hall to also look like it was that previous civilization that we have established in the lore, so we're going to be sticking with the same block palette. And I gotta be honest, this is going to be another one of those standout structures in this world. I am really looking forward to the way this is going to turn out. So after about an hour and a half of shearing sheep, we have about a double chest full of wool. Now, fortunately, we should have a lot of all the other kinds of blocks that we need from building the previous structures. Like for example, I know we have all the tough we'll need in our mining district storage room, so we'll just scoop that up and bring it over real quick. We should also have all the cobbled deep slate that we'll need, so we'll grab that too. And then I'm just going to quickly drop off all of the leaves and wood that we got from tearing down the forest because I need to make some more room in my inventory here. We actually do not have all the items that I thought we had, so we have to go on a little resource mining journey here, and we're going to start by flying out to these mountains to look for some more veins of calcite. With the calcite in our possession, we now need to move on to the next couple of blocks that we need, and again, I have run out of cobblestone and stone. I really need to just make a cobblestone farm, man. We are long overdue for that, but I'm going to keep putting it off. I don't even know why. I really don't want to make one. So we're going to go mine some more by hand. And the past couple of times that we've had to go mining, I have had to remove our regeneration beacon from our custom forest in order to get haste so we can get this done in a timely manner. So this time I'm not going to do that. We're actually going to head into the Nether and go ahead and collect a bunch of wither skeleton skulls to get ourselves our second beacon in the hardcore world. 2,000 days in, over 2,000 days survived in this world, and we still only have 2 beacons. That seems kind of absurd. I'm really lacking in a few different places, honestly, now that I think about it. But anyways, I'm going to do my best to head out to a nearby nether fortress and just start killing as many wither skeletons as I can. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, I've been here for quite a while, and not enough wither skeletons are spawning. We don't even have our first skull yet, and I feel like I've killed at least 20 of these guys, and The problem is not that the drop rates are bad, the problem is they're not spawning very frequently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear down a bunch of the railings and other structures that kind of jut out from the main nether fortress, and I'm going to use those nether bricks to start filling in some empty space to hopefully give us some bigger spawning platforms in this area. I don't know exactly the mechanics of how wither skeletons spawn, but I know you're supposed to slab off a really big area of any of the terrain that's surrounding the nether fortress and make the area that is within the nether fortress as flat and accessible for group mob spawning as possible. Okay, turns out maybe I do know a little bit about the spawning mechanics of wither skeletons, but anyways, hopefully this will work and we'll start to see some more guys pop up here. And oh yeah, I can already tell that the space we made is helping us make pretty significant progress. And just like that, I think we just got our first wither skeleton skull. I'm gonna check my inventory as soon as we kill this blaze here. There we go. And yep, we actually got 2. Okay, I will take that. I don't know if, can they drop more than 1 skull per skeleton? I don't think so. So we must have got one earlier and I didn't notice, but I'll take it. Now we just need 1 more, so let's keep going. But alright, we got the 3 wither skeleton skulls that we needed, so it's time to fly home and get that beacon crafted up. And the first thing I need, of course, is to make sure we actually have enough iron available right now for us to make the beacon. And looking in our chests down in our storage room, we definitely do not. And I also don't have an iron farm yet, which means we need to go on an iron mining trip. There are some pretty essential farms that I need now. It's time. I need to stop being lazy and just get on it. But for the time being, I'm going to grab some more rockets and we're going to fly out to another Stony Peaks biome to hopefully find a bunch of iron. And returning home to our starter base here, we are actually 1 block shy of 12 stacks of iron ore, so I'd say that was a pretty good mining session. I was gone for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, so I'm glad we got a lot out of it. But now I'm just going to throw all of these down, and we're then going to convert all of these to raw iron with our Fortune 3 pickaxe. And while we do this, I actually want to go over this episode's comment of the day, which comes from Casper M3B. And Casper says, you could also make a tree farm and save the poor taiga. By the way, for schematics, you can also auto-place the blocks, so it's way faster to build such large projects. Love your videos. So thank you for the compliment and the comment, Casper. And yes, I actually am aware of the auto-placement option that comes with Lightmatica, and I do use it pretty frequently. But when it comes to auto-placing blocks with that mod, I tend to try to like to place them by hand as much as I possibly can. Because as much of a time saver as that is for me as a creator, it helps me to get videos out much faster. I still enjoy the manual placing aspects of the game, and I feel like sometimes Lightmatica can kind of take away from that, so I try to find a healthy balance of both. And to answer your statement about the tree farm, that is definitely something that will be coming soon. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there are a lot of auto farms that we need to get done. And I think having a whole like forest cut down area where there's a whole logging campaign going on, I think that would be a pretty sick video. So thank you once again for the comment, and I'll start getting right on that. But there we go, we have a full shulker box and an additional 22 pieces of iron, so that should be more than we need for a full beacon. So we're good to go. Now all we need to do is come inside to our starter base here and smelt all of it down into actual iron ingots. With all of that iron smelted, we're now just going to craft it all down into blocks. And then the remaining iron that we have, we're going to take into our treasure dungeon storage room here, sacrifice a bunch of it to the dragon, and then head out. And we're actually going to make a quick trip back to the Nether to collect a few pieces of soul sand, and then we're going to fly over to our end portal. God, I always forget how gorgeous the end looks with complementary reimagined shaders. It's so pretty. But now we're just going to take our wither skeleton skulls and our soul sand, and we're going to set up a wither in this little killing chamber that we have here and collect our nether star. Now we just need to head back home, smelt up some glass, and collect some obsidian from our strip mining area, and then we just need to craft up our beacon and we are good to go. And like I was saying earlier, we are here. This whole process was just for us to collect a bunch of cobblestone, so we're going to head back up to our mountain mining area, and we're going to place our beacon down real quick, and then we can finally get to insta-mining some cobblestone. Alright, so I've collected all the cobblestone I need, but now I have to take our beacon and move it all the way downstairs back to our deep slate mining area, because although I have all the cobbled deep slate that I need, this time I actually will be requiring some regular deep slate, so I'm gonna have to take a silk touch pickaxe to this stuff for a little bit, and digging a hole to the surface here for the beacon is proving to be a little bit more difficult than I thought, but we'll get through it. I'm also just going to build up a little cobblestone pipe looking thing here in the water to make sure the beacon can actually go through, and we should be good to get started. And you know, this kind of got me thinking, mining deep slate even with efficiency 5 without a beacon can be pretty hard. And it's not too dissimilar to what it's like trying to run your own Minecraft server without a good hosting company. Which is why I always use the sponsor of today's video, GG Servers. Now some of you may already know that GG Servers has been a sponsor of the channel for a few episodes now, and I couldn't be happier with the services that they've provided me. So if you're looking to start your own Minecraft server, whether that's vanilla, modded, or even for Bedrock, GG Servers has got you covered with powerful performance, global locations, and instant setups. They support one-click installs for all your favorite mod packs and have 24/7 customer support to help you out whenever you need it. So go ahead and use the link in the description, or head over to ggservers.com and use code INSEE25 to get 25% off your purchase. But alright, we've collected all the deep slate we need, so now I'm going to tear down my beacon and head up to the surface. And I am once again going to just place all of these blocks down into our temporary chest monster that we're developing up here, and then we're on to the next steps. And looking at our material list here, it looks like we're basically done. We just have a few more blocks that we need to collect, and I know we have some leftover pale oak, so I don't need to worry about that, and we definitely have a couple stacks of mud down underneath the bone meal farm, so I don't need to worry about that either. But one block I do need to worry about, and one block that has plagued me throughout this series, is diorite. So I'm headed back down to the caves to mine up some diorite one final time. Now with all of that diorite collected, we're just going to go ahead and throw it in these chests here to kind of help us stay a little organized. And with that, we should have all the items we need to begin. But before we start building, there is one more thing I need to do, which is come down to the bottom of the mountain here and get rid of this little peninsula almost looking piece of land that sticks out from the mainland. But with all that dirt out of the way, it is finally time to start building the villager trading hall. This thing is looking fantastic so far. And I mean, just look at how high up we are compared to the rest of the island. It's kind of insane. I mean, we can see all the way down to our firework factory there, which is just crazy. But I do quickly need to come to the interior of the build here and light up the inside with a bunch of torches because we do have a mob problem. With that minor issue fixed, we are good to continue the build. Alright, man, this thing looks incredible, especially from this mountaintop here. I can't believe how nice this is actually turning out. I managed to get this done pretty quickly, so I'm happy with it. And look at this angle from Ortho's camera, dude. Oh, dude, it looks so good with like the light reflecting off of it. But anyways, there are some few more details that we need to get done in order to complete the build. So I'm just going to take our diorite and make a couple variants of it, including walls and polished stairs. And if we fly up to the build here, you can see that I left some empty spots for some different blocks. So I'm going to be filling in these empty spots with a bunch of diorite walls. And I'm also going to be adding some polished diorite stairs to the tops of some of these buttresses here to kind of make it look smoother, I guess. Yeah, smoother. And I also want to come to the front here and begin working on the entrance. So I'm going to do my best to kind of just outline it with pale trap doors and then use some polished diorite stairs to get more of an arch look. This is basically going to be the same design as the Mega Castle. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm just now noticing how cool our mining district looks with all the amethyst glowing at night. That's pretty sick. But now I'm also going to come in and start building out some of these windows to make them look a bit more finished and better. So I'm going to be doing the same thing we did at the front door by using polished diorite stairs to make a bit more of an arch. We're going to be lining each window with some pale trap doors, and then in the middle, to kind of create a little bit of separation, we're going to be bringing in some diorite walls. And while I'm building all of this, I just wanted to quickly mention that this build and my full world download will be available on my Patreon page for Diamond Tier Patreon members. And if you are interested in my Patreon, then keep in mind you get access to a bunch more things like behind the scenes videos and exclusive Discord roles. And I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who is a Patreon member and a channel member. I cannot express just how important your support is to me, and I'm very, very grateful for everything you do. But there we go, guys, and this thing looks amazing, and putting in those windows actually really helped with the exterior look of this a lot. I even added a couple of windows on the broken parts of the castle down below too, to kind of just make everything fit together, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. But now what I want to do is come into the inside of the building here, and I actually want to start placing in the floor. Now, I have something really cool planned for this build, but I don't know if we're going to get to that today. So for now, we're just going to go with what my original plan was for the floor of this place. And I basically want to do what we couldn't do in the mega castle. You see, my goal for the mega castle was to make the entirety of the interior of the build made out of calcite. That way you could have the grimy exterior of the building, but a really nice and clean polished interior to the building. Obviously, you know, because the interior hasn't been exposed to the weather and just hundreds of years of erosion. However, the mega castle actually ended up being too small on the interior. But this time, I've got a lot more room to play with. So the first thing we're going to do is make a ground floor that's completely covered in calcite. But alright, the floor is installed, and now what I actually need to do is run over to my chests, and I'm going to try to set up a very temporary honey farm just so we can get like 5 to 6 honey blocks, because I kind of want to test what it would look like if we used honey for the windows like we did on our starter base. But there we go. So the window I have on the right has honey blocks in it, and the window on the left just has a torch kind of hidden. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't like the honey blocks, so we're going to remove those real quick. And as far as lighting goes for the interior here, we're just going to stick with torches. I don't know why, but the honey blocks aren't really doing it for me the way they did at our starter island, so we're going to leave them out. But now we're going to come back to the interior here, and we're actually going to start covering all of the walls in calcite as well. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, I originally wanted to do this on the mega castle as well, but I just ran out of time, so I'm very excited to see what this will actually end up looking like, because I've been waiting to do this for quite some time. I'm hoping that as we put different floors in, we'll get a lot of cool moments of different reflections and things just bouncing off the walls and the floor. Hopefully it turns out looking pretty cool. But there we go. The bottom layer of all of the calcite has been put in place. I still have to cover the 2 top layers, but this is taking up a lot more blocks than I initially thought it was going to. And installing this roof here is probably going to be a bit more difficult than the bottom, because I can't just tower straight up like I was on the bottom floor, so I'm going to have to set up a bunch of scaffolding here and kind of just do my best to maneuver around the area and get everything installed. Okay, so I ran out of blocks, and I needed to go back out to find some more calcite. So I'm at this Stony Peaks biome here, but tell me why there's a floating nether portal here. I have never seen one of these before. I didn't even know terrain could generate like this. There's nothing good in the chest, obviously, but still pretty cool little piece of terrain generation there. We've also got some weird calcite blocks sticking up into the air too. Something strange is going on in this mountain range. So I think it would probably be best if we hurried up, grabbed all the calcite we need, and headed home. But alright, I collected all the calcite we need, and I finally finished covering the entirety of the interior in said calcite, and I have to say it looks pretty good. I'm happy with the way it turned out. It's definitely not looking as shiny as I would have liked it to, but that's because we don't have any lighting up there yet, so once we get some light sources in here, that will definitely change. But before we do that, something that's really bothering me is that this thing is actually still floating above the water, and I'm not having another creeper farm situation. We haven't even connected that thing to the ground yet, and I made that build almost 6 months ago, so for now I'm going to come down to the bottom of the build here and actually attempt to connect all of the rocks to the bed of the river or the ocean here so that it all flows seamlessly and it looks like one big giant rock that's jutting out from, you know, the bottom of the ocean floor. But there we go, that definitely looks a lot better, and it makes a lot more sense. And my brain is satisfied. We can move on with other things now, including connecting the main bridge to the ground properly as well. I want to get rid of a lot of this dirt to make it look like the bridge is rising up out of the ground. We're going to blend it in a little more eventually too, probably with some mossy cobblestone and some moss blocks, but I kind of want to save that for when we terraform this entire mountainside, because that is an episode we're going to be doing in the semi-near future, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm just going to come through and replace a bunch of these dirt blocks with tough cobblestone and cobbled deep slate. But unfortunately, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode. I'm sorry this one was a little shorter than normal, but I have run out of time for this week. But don't worry, at the time of recording this voiceover, I've already begun the steps of building the interior for this thing, so I'll have the next episode out, kind of part 2 to this villager trading hall, very, very soon, and that'll be the episode where, like I said, we build the entire interior and we actually transfer the villagers over, get them to breed up, and then we actually fill our island with all the villagers. I'm really looking forward to it. But thank you guys for everything, and thank you for 130,000 subscribers. That's another insane milestone, and I'm just very grateful for all of you for that. But yeah, that'll do it for today, so I gotta get going because I've got some villagers to move.